I did ask our Public Works Supervisor, Rick Rowland, to be here this evening because he'll have another lengthy report to offer the second meeting of the month. And I thought we'd break it down into pieces. So, if you will, Rick Rowland, would you address council with your report that we were unable to receive last week?
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's a little dated, just a couple weeks old, because my other report's in progress, and that's going to be involved with what's happened between this report and this report. In addition to routine maintenance, the Public Works Department was involved in the following. Most of our time for the last 4 weeks has been used for snow removal and for the preparation of snow removal. Since December 4th, there have been 10 snow events involving 13 working days. That's 13 working days out of 20 working days. We have spent many more hours preparing the trucks before and after each event. The frequency and totals of snow has depleted our salt barns and has used most of available resources. However, we will be able to purchase salt as needed through the county as it becomes available. Since December 4th, 2010, we have used 180.5 tons of salt, which is average 18.5 tons per event. This is only 20 tons short of last year's total usage. We still have February and March. We still have okay, I'll go with that. With this in mind, I will be ordering more salt to replenish our reserves. We have enough salt on hand to cover 2 additional major snow events and 4 smaller ones. However, I'm not comfortable with that and without the possibility of purchasing more. We have replaced several faded signs to the village in the last month at a cost of $231. I will begin the process of counting and ordering the high illumination signs for the sections 3 and 4 in the next coming weeks. I've already went through town and made the totals. Also, I received from...
I was going to did he copy you on that email?
Yes.
Okay.
From where they wanted this to be in a process, actually, we're a year ahead of them because once we got the memo last year, we started implementing this plan to break it down in 5 years instead of the 3 that the rest of the counties want to have.
Right.
It's very expensive thing to do. These must be in place this year in order to stay on schedule and complete the replacement of all signage by January 2015. We have begun to see the appearance of potholes due to the freezing and thawing in the roadways. As of Friday before January 17th, we had fixed 7 holes that cost us $75. We've done a few more since, and that'll be in my next report. That's all I had for this particular report. If you have any other questions or any updated things you need to...
And working out well with having Chuck available to help?
Yes, that helps out. I don't use them on smaller snow events because we just don't need them. I use them when we have a lot of inches and the cul-de-sacs we need to clean because the procedure that we use to do the small cul-de-sacs requires a 3rd person. And other than that, that keeps it somewhat control of the budget if we don't just be bringing knives or something.
I wanted to let council know that it was 1 or 2 meetings ago we talked about the fact that there was a subdivision here that is not dedicated yet, and that we were receiving countless complaints from the residents there. Well, the morning of 1 or 2 or 3 snows ago, we received a call from that gentleman asking to have the village take care of their streets, so now he's agreed and has signed the appropriate legal documentation, and the appropriate arrangements have been made. Good. So great. Our residents are receiving better service. Now, on that particular day, it took a couple of days because, of course, he waited until the snow was already on the ground and it was really bad, and it was packed really thick. And so, but I know that Rick came in on Saturday and a Sunday, I think, to make sure
on that Friday night, we received a call to do that, and we went through in 3 trips of salt just to break it up. And then on Saturday, it was getting loose enough you can go through and knock it off the roads and clear it. And by Saturday evening, we had improved.
So they did go ahead and sign on. We
Good. That makes us look a little better now.
It does.
The eye of the public.
It does.
So, can I add something on that? I just want to say, Julie did an amazing job getting that thing together that morning. I mean, he literally called when it was really, and so she hunted me down. I was pursued through text message, email, phone call, every phone I had. But, I mean, I told her, get me this information, I'll get it out to you. I had a window before I had a meeting, and she scrambled to get that together and got it out. So she did an amazing job because she knew it was important to those residents. So.
Hey, Julie.
Yeah, I mean, because I said I got like a 45, didn't I give you like 45 minutes? I got 45 minutes. You get all that info to me, I'll get it to you. Otherwise, it can't be till Monday. So, well, till Saturday, because it was a Friday, right?
Yeah, it was a Friday.
Yeah, I would have done it Saturday, but it wasn't going to be the turnaround we were hoping
Right.
for. So,
Good job, Julie.
yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Rick, anybody have any questions for Rick?
How's the equipment handled? Hold on.
We're having a lot of issues with the Chevy.
Yeah, that's what
We did a patchwork job to keep the oil from running out the other day. So it's holding right now. When we get enough clear space that we can take it off the road, because I don't want to take it off the road, because at any given time I'm going to need it with snow. We do have the oil leak stopped, but it's not something I'm going to rely upon for a lot of time. And so it's not on the road unless we need it for salting purposes right now. The other truck had a little bit of issues, so we're still having issues with those two trucks. But other than that,
What's the total repair on that old truck for a year?
last year I gave a report, a month ago in last year's, and it was almost $7,000 in the value of the truck. When I called about it to get an idea of what percentage-wise, it was $10,000. That's with the plow. and
That's
snow.
what I was getting at. So we need to dump the truck.
So the truck
Pardon the
used
expression, dump.
over 60% of its value in repairs alone in 1 year, and we're already getting ready to start stacking up on that again.
One of the truck isn't really that old, but
Yeah.
the big issue is that when it was purchased, they didn't do the appropriate treatment, salt treatment to the undercarriage, and it's just rotting away.
Yeah, that's right.
It's rotting away.
Stop it. We've tried to stop it with some undercoating, and it just
Too
it was
little,
too
too
far
late.
gone, too little, too late. It did happen a little bit, but not what I hoped to do. Because we started getting other issues with the mechanisms that works a bed and everything, just because it wore out.
Let's see if we can get through the season. And
We'll get through
pursue
this
that.
season, but like I say, I'm going to come to you, be forewarned that we're going to have to do something with that truck.
That's why I brought it up.
I think Julie was going to
I
ask.
just wanted to mention that in the past, our office was inundated with phone calls, complaints from residents about snow plowing, about snow being dropped at the ends of driveways. And for the past 2 years, we have not received one complaint because of the process that Ricky has developed for snow removal.
Good.
So thank you.
Very, very
Yeah.
good.
You do a fine
Good
job,
job.
man.
Well, thank you. Any other?
That's it, Rick. Take the
Thank
rest
you.
of the night off.
Yeah. Take the rest of the night off.
Next item on the agenda this evening is the fiscal officer report. I see that there's a fiscal officer report in your packet.
Actually, we got approval of the bills right before that, and I've got to do that, or do the report first?
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Good idea.
So we have two sets, since I kept them separate since we didn't have the last meeting. The first set is from January 1 through January 17, and the total of those is $42,996.02.
This time I'm going to entertain a motion for approval of the bills for January 1 through January 17.
I'll make the motion to pay the bills. Does that make the time?
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Todd?
Yes.
Renee?
Yeah.
Bob?
Yay.
Tim?
Yay.
Chuck?
Yeah.
And the second set is dated from January 18 through today, February 7. That total is $52,545.24. One reason it's a little higher is because since most of the employees get paid every 2 weeks, twice per year, the double payroll falls into the same time period, and this was one of those. So there's extra payroll on here compared to our.
Make a motion, we pay the bill.
Second.
Let me clarify that that's January 18 through February 7. Roll call, please.
Todd?
Yay.
Renee?
Yay.
Bob?
Present.
Tim?
Yay.
Chuck?
Yay.
All right. Fiscal officer's report?
Okay. The HSA insurance program has been initiated. The initial contribution of $500 to each eligible employee's account has been taken care of. One village employee opted out of the program, leaving the village with 6 employees participating in the health insurance program. The Finance Committee met this evening, and among other things, we made slight changes to the appropriations. There will be an ordinance at the next meeting to make the appropriations permanent for the year. We will most likely need to look at the appropriations again later in the year after the state budget becomes official. Also, as indicated in the report in your packet for Fund 2021, the balance at the end of January stands at minus $9,947.09. At the current pace of revenue, the fund will turn positive in October, and I might add it will probably have somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 positive at the end of December. And also, as an FYI, in your packet is the certification of fund balances at the beginning of the year, and I thought I might go over those briefly just to kind of explain. This is a document that we have to turn in to the auditor's office where I certify the balances at the end of the year, and then the other columns are basically how much money we have available in the budget, and the total available from all balances is what they call it, which basically means how much money we have available to us to appropriate. And I have 2 pages. The first page is the totals. The second page is a breakdown per fund. Left column is the balances as of December 31st. And then the second and third column are any encumbrances, which we did not have any, and we didn't advance any money from one fund to another, so those are blank. Carryover is actually the same amount as the cash balance. And then the second column from the right is the budget figures that we put in based on the budget that we submitted to the county last summer with a little bit of tweaking for updated information. And then the far column to the right is the totals of the available balances and the budget figures that we have in there. And then the last document is basically kind of a snapshot of the same thing, just what's in the software, just to show that it matches to, it's the same information, but that's when I enter it in the computer, it shows up on that report that way. The first one is the hand-generated document that we certify in the county. The second one is after I put it in the computer. So in a nutshell, we had a cash balance at the beginning of the year of $880,391, which is a little below beginning of last year, but if you recall, we made double payments on the fire contract, so it's just such a large expense, it stands to reason that we would have less cash available because of that. And then I have budgeted to receive total in all funds $1,606,000, which means our total available for appropriation is $2,487,325, of which we appropriated $1,942,296, and we have $545,000 that are not appropriated at this point. And time will tell if throughout the year, the appropriations are tight, time will tell throughout the year if we need to nudge into that other area. We, at the mayor's request, we kept them at 85%, and that's what these figures show, other than ones like the cemetery fund where, we don't have to be anywhere near that for expenditures. So that's that, and that's all I have. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you to Bill and the Finance Committee for working so hard, whittling those numbers down, getting into that percentage. Let's stay lean. Maybe we can maintain it at 85% moving forward. Something I neglected to mention before we move into the next section here. Vice Mayor Bob Paulett attended on behalf of the village the Claremont County Mayor's Association meeting, and he did create a report, and it's in your packet tonight. Bob, I'm not sure if you want to present that, or I know everyone has it.
Well, everybody's got it.
Okay.
I might suggest, let me have it out at my home. Once I write it, I file it, and it's gone. Where did I get the word I am? It's probably in the paper. The Davie Mayor made the statement that they were trying to make money, and by annexing properties that on border Batavia would be their simplest and quickest way to accomplish their goal. And he was rather upbeat at the time. We had our meeting, but I see in the paper recently that things aren't as upbeat from UC as he thought it was going to be. So I just thought I'd sort of add that to the report. It's not quite the same as it was before. And we are hosting the Mayor's Council here Saturday at 9 o'clock, and anybody's more than welcome to show up. It's not a closed meeting. It's not anything, earth-shattering. They supply the goodies. I supply the coffee, and everybody's happy.
I might be.
Yeah, it'd be great. Be great. Glad to have you.
Next item we have on the agenda is an two executive sessions. We read these by title. First executive session of sale of village property pursuant to revised code 121.22. The second executive session is for discussion of personnel matters involving potential discipline pursuant to revised code 121.22. Laura, is there any update, anything that you want to add to what I just said?
No, I think that's fine.
Do we need to adjourn, come back?
No, we can do it.
We
Just
can
do it
do
as
a
separate motions with separate roll calls.
All right, so we don't need to go in there, come back out?
Correct.
All right, thank you. This time I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session regarding the sale of village property pursuant to revised code 121.22.
Second.
Discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Todd?
Yay.
Renee?
Yeah.
Bob?
Okay?
Tim?
Yay.
Chuck?
All right. Second motion would be to move to executive session for discussion on personnel matters involving potential discipline pursuant to revised code 121.22.
So moved. Second.
Discussion or questions? Roll call.
Todd?
Yay.
Renee?
Yeah.
Bob?
Okay?
Tim?
Yay.
Chuck?
All right, let the record show we'll move to executive session at 7:57 p.m. All right, we'll ask for a motion from council to return from executive session at 8:30 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Todd?
Yay.
Renee?
Yay.
Bob?
Okay?
Tim?
Yay.
Chuck?
All right. Laura, is there any reason for review?
No action's been taken.
Next item on the agenda is legislation. I know we have a piece of legislation. I have it here.
Oh, it was in last. Oh, we're getting here.
Sorry, guys, that's for your patience. Might have their order. Handy. I'm just not seeing it. You got one, thank you. All right, the legislation before us this evening is ordinance number O-2011-05, a request for advanced taxes. I'll read that ordinance header aloud. Ordinance number O-2011-05, an ordinance directing the fiscal officer to request from the Claremont County Auditor in advance of taxes collected and declaring an emergency. At this time, I would entertain a motion to suspend the rules for 3 readings on 3 dates.
I make the motion we suspend the rules for 3 readings and 3 days.
Second that motion.
Discussion? Questions?
Mayor, may I?
Yes.
Just wanted to explain that the reason I requested an emergency is because normally I would have asked for this to be done the first meeting of the year, and it slipped my mind. And then the second meeting, of course, was canceled. And this allows us to, I can deliver this to the auditor's office tomorrow, and we will have an advance on the taxes by Friday, because they've already started distributing them. In the absence of that, we would have 3 readings and a 30-day waiting period. We would be at the end of March, and We would probably need to advance money from one fund to another by then for payroll purposes. So I just wanted to explain that.
Any further discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Todd?
Yay.
Renee?
Yay.
Bob?
Yay?
Tim?
Yay.
Chuck?
Yeah.
Okay, ordinance number O-2011-05 has been passed as an emergency. At this time, we'll adopt ordinance number O-2011-05. I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Todd?
Yes.
Renee?
Yay.
Bob?
Okay? Oh, no. Yay?
Tim? Chuck?
Reading on writing.
Ordinance number O-2011-05 is adopted.
That was okay. I just went right on with it,
Yeah, well,
okay?
that's not what came out.
That did suit like came out first time.
All right, next item on the agenda is public input. I see we have some folks here this evening. Anyone like to care to address council? Just stand up, introduce yourself, and state your business. With no public input, we'll move to the council input section. The council person have any input this evening?
I've got two things. Have we heard any more from the tattoo shop about the painting? Remember the gentleman came and showed us a real nice painting, and nobody's heard anything from him?
Julie met with them, and I met with them via phone. That was
Yeah.
last.
He was going to talk to the owner. He doesn't own that property, and that was the last time
That was
I
last.
spoke to him.
Okay. The second thing I had, I'd like to actually bring this to the Finance Committee at your next meeting, if you could possibly look at entertaining, maybe getting a part-time zoning inspector. Look at the finances and see where we stand. And
We got that. We'll keep pursuing.
We've
okay.
been scratching.
Yeah.
We can't find any place that's got any money in the hole.
Scrap
It's
a little
definitely
more.
needed, yeah.
Along that line, when we were talking, it was part-time. We were talking about the salary
Yeah,
at
part-time.
15, 17 range.
Yeah.
That was for part-time.
Mhm.
Well, if we went part-time.
We could. I'm sure you could.
I mean, you got to consider, like Leroy said, to start with, it's going to be a
A
massive,
full-time.
massive job, and then it will bring in revenue for a while.
Well, it'll. In the past, it sort of paid for itself.
Yeah, it's paid for.
And we don't do it you don't really do it for revenue,
Right.
but it sort of pays
But it's
for
going to
itself.
help get it started as
Here,
far as-
honestly, my concern is this: with no enforcement having happened in the last 2 years, there are violations all over town. Okay, and as I have indicated many times, we're basically in a position where we can respond to resident complaints, people who are angry because the neighbor's got a washer and dryer in the driveway, or whatever it is. Okay, and we respond to those and we try to get them taken care of in compliance with the code. The problem is there are so many circumstances where I can think of a half a dozen, maybe not a half dozen right off the top of my head, but I know of a number of places in the village where people have, for example, parked their mobile home in their driveway and it's not in compliance with the code. Now, let's pretend like that's not a big deal. There have been some people who were asked to get in compliance and spent money on repairing the driveway, landscape, etc., to be in compliance. Now, I've actually been involved in cases where, while we had active zoning enforcement, there were people that spent money to get in compliance. I mean, we worked with them. We gave them time to get in compliance. And, one of them, just to be honest with you, a guy spent a lot of money to extend his driveway, got the trailer on the side of the home, and it's still sticking out about that far. Well, I never noticed it, but a neighbor did and complained. And so it's like, how do you enforce this? And this man already, he spent a lot of money in landscaping, concrete work, etc. And then he can, and so can I, cite at least a half dozen places throughout the village where the same ordinance is being violated, and it's gone, uninspected, or there's been no action.
I know it's going to be a huge undertaking to start with.
And it's going to take the right person too, because we're not just going to be able to come in and just start writing people tickets left and right, saying, get this fixed, spend $20,000. You can't do that.
Yeah, right.
You're not going to be able to do that. You're going to have to be. It's going to take a real customer service oriented kind of person that's going to, be able to handle this situation. And we're going to have to, work with our residents, because we don't do it. You don't do it to drive revenue, and you don't do it to drive away residents. You do it for the, it was adopted, I would assume, by council in the past as it was in the best interest of the village.
That's right.
So, it's just something that I'm afraid if it gets too far gone, I don't know how we'll ever get a handle on. So that's why I'm so adamant.
Yeah, that's probably a good reason we need to really start seriously looking at it. And give people plenty of time.
Yeah.
Let them know.
Even now, we're really lenient with those people that we do have to, not lenient, but we, if they can tell us what the plan is, we work with them in every way we can. Where we have the biggest concern is any circumstance where there's a public safety issue, like a swimming pool with no fence around it. We've got one that I don't think the gentleman ever got a fence around his yard, and Julie and I told him he had to put his cover back on. I know it's 95 degrees, I know it's summer, but you got to cover the pool, and because there's no fence. So
How does that relate to lakes? You say you got to cover pools, put a fence around the pool. We don't have a fence around our lake. We have
Lakes have
Good point there, Chuck.
Lakes have walkout. They have to be able to walk out of when they design them.
they have what now?
They have standards to walk out, and they're
Oh yeah, there's an incline.
that's the safety
Mm-hmm.
mechanism for the development of the lake. Ponds
I
and
didn't know the
lakes.
answer to that.
Detention ponds, things like that.
Mhm.
They put in.
Yeah, those are
Established
retention ponds, but if Chuck's
If
just
it's a
talking about
natural
ponds
lake,
in general,
yeah,
there's no fence around those.
no,
yeah.
no. If it's a natural lake, it's,
So
you
how's
can't
that
do
work?
anything with it. But
To me, a pond's more dangerous than a pool because you can't see the bottom of a pond.
We looked into this about 10 years ago when I was up here before, and you'd be surprised just how many, you would think there's a lot of drownings, and there's not. And as far as lakes, ponds, retention ponds, those all fall under a different category for insurance. And now the county's actually making people do the retention ponds because of the flow of water for the surface water. So that's a common thing to see now.
A couple of years ago, I ran some statistics on it, did some research on it, and the statistics showed that more people drowned in pools, even the really little shallow kiddie pools, than in ponds and retention areas, statistically.
We've actually had it done back here in this pond.
Yeah, that pond actually has had somebody pulled
But
out.
that was due to.
I've heard both ways. I've heard he was
Yeah,
rendered
I won't
unconscious.
go on to that
yeah.
one,
But I've heard both ways, and that's all rumor mill. None of it's substantiated. That's why I asked. Whenever
that
I
was shortly
hear,
after it was put in too. Which was
Yeah.
ironic.
yeah, that's really there's a whole sad situation. But still, it sits there when you hear, well, we got to put up a fence around a pool. Going, well, I can think of a body of water that.
I mean, if you take a look at East Fork Lake, it's huge. I mean,
Yeah.
you walk into it from all over the place.
yeah, there's been people pulled out of East Fork Lake too.
there's some people
That's
that pull
bad.
They seem to drive in there too.
Yeah. So,
Any other council input before we move to adjourn? Entertain a motion to adjourn at 8:43.
Somebody make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
You would before you
scratched on it.
We change that or?
Body style. So in order to save the money and having to purchase new hardware to fit, talking about the cage on the inside, light bar, whatever accessories are. That was the hope, to try to save having to purchase new hardware. So that's what he was alluding to when he talked about that.
Do you need a motion for that, Bill?
The way Laura stated to me earlier today, we need a motion to accept the financing agreement, and then we'll have an ordinance ready at the next meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I like emergency vehicles.
And discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Derek?
Yay.
Todd?
Yay.
Renee?
Yay.
Tim?
Yay.
Bob?
Yay.
Chuck?
Yay.
Motion approved. Next item we have on the agenda is something with liquor control at CVS. Chief, you have something on this?
The village received notification from liquor control, just a standard notification. CVS is renewing their liquor permit for sales there, and the council has a right to object to that. I believe it was placed on the agenda tonight for input from the police department. CVS has never had any complaints against their liquor license, nor we had any incidents or arrests due to them selling sealed alcohol by the bottle there. So my recommendation was that consider that notification from liquor control, just simply that notification that we not appeal the status of their license or no. Bill has the paperwork, has to go back to Columbus.
By December 20th.
Yeah.
We have to formally notify them if we are not requesting a hearing. In the old days, you could just do nothing if you weren't requesting a hearing. Now we have to respond and tell them we don't want a hearing. So that's fine.
So by doing nothing tonight, you're able to proceed? Do you need a motion?
Probably best to have a motion, I
You
would
need the
think.
motion.
That's what I thought.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
First time you make a motion, do nothing.
Yes.
That's the motion, isn't it?
Any other questions or discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Derek?
Yay.
Todd?
Yay.
Renee?
Yay.
Tim?
Yay.
Bob?
Yay.
Chuck?
Yay. We should pass an ordinance about a drink.
The motion.
Where the money is.
The motion to approve the renewal of
buildings.
CVS liquor permit is approved. Next item on the agenda this evening is public input. At this time, we'd open the floor to anyone who'd like to address council. Just ask you to step forward up here in front of the desk, sign our sheet, introduce yourself, and state your business.
Don't rush.
No public input this evening? That being said, we'll move to council input.
I just want to say it was really good to see some young people getting involved with their village and trying to make things better. And I think that's a good model for a lot more people to follow.
Certainly is.
The next meeting will be before Christmas, just before. We're going to have refreshments at that for that.
For the citizen of the year,
Okay.
yes.
If you need anything brought to you, let me know.
Well, we gonna
Hot
have
chocolate
a
or
party?
punch or-
Thank you.
You gonna have a party?
At the last meeting of the year, when presenting the Citizen of the Year award,
Oh, we have a party for
usually a
that.
little, to present the award, coffee, punch, whatever, and visit with that person. Have a special moment.
What's our status on, I think I heard you and Julie talking about it earlier, but I just wanted to recognize the individuals from the fire. Where do we stand on that?
We're anticipating that also at the next meeting.
They're tearing it down.
If everything comes together, it'll be at the next meeting.
Started today.
If not, it might have to wait until after the holiday, but we're anticipating next meeting. Any other business? Any other input? This time on the table.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn at 8:47 PM. Thank you.